motion to approve the minutes?
I make the motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. Chris, raise your hand.
Aye.
You'll just have to tell
Aye.
him.
We'll call the roll.
Aye.
I abstain. I wasn't here till last meeting, so I abstain.
Say that again.
I
Mr. Burnham,
abstain.
we have to do a voice vote.
Voice vote, okay.
Yes, so we'll go down the list.
Roll call,
Yep, I'll call the roll, okay?
okay?
Approval of minutes, Mr. Burnham,
Aye.
Jim Carr,
Approved.
Chris Maynard,
Yes.
Gene Tremmell.
No, because I abstained because I wasn't here.
Abstain. There we go. Now we're good.
Okay, moving right along. Do we have, let's see, the agenda. We won't follow the agenda, but we'll elect a chairman, correct?
Yes, sir. We need to have
Yes.
somebody make a motion to nominate somebody as the chairman.
I'll nominate Chris. That's me.
I agree.
I unfortunately am so new to the process. I believe in Mr. Burnham's suggestion and the interactions I've had with Chris. I know for certainly it's not me. So I second Chris if he would be a great
Okay.
job.
All in favor? Roll call?
Is there any discussion? Anybody? Mr.
Yeah,
Maynard?
I'm sorry.
you
Does
good with
anybody
that?
have any discussion?
Better ask Mr. Maynard if he's okay with it.
I'm willing to serve in that capacity.
All right, thank you, Chris. And I guess, is there any other discussion?
We'll call the roll. If you say aye, you approve of Chris Maynard as the chairman. Mr. Burnham,
Aye.
Mr. Carr,
Aye.
Mr. Trammell,
Aye.
Mr. Maynard.
Aye.
Okay, I'll turn it over to you, Chris.
All right. All right. I guess that was quick.
On the job training, baby.
Yeah, moving right along.
You know,
Well, if you want
one
me to
small-
continue to chair this meeting, I will. But,
well,
why
that's,
don't you go
I
ahead?
think that's right. One small point. Did we call this meeting to order or to disorder?
Yeah, right. We did. But
Go ahead, Todd.
Do you
Go
want me
ahead,
to go
Tom.
ahead?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Okay. Now, I'm the treasurer. Do we have to vote on that, or does that remain the same?
I think that can remain the same.
Okay. And we have approved the minutes. Let's see, Mr. Battis, would you give us the financial results?
It will be a pleasure. There's a lot of people not having any fun this summer, but we're having a little fun at Country Hills.
Right on.
We are. Yeah.
June was an excellent month. We had 3,204 rounds, which was 607 more than the budget. Our income was a little over $120,000, which was $26,000 above budget. And also about $29,000 above June of last year. Our operating expenses were $10,000 less than budget, giving us a net operating income of $45,800, which was just under $34,000 above the budget number, which projected income of just under $12,000. And net cash flow for the month was $50,609, which was $35,000 above budget, which projected income of 15,000. So that's what I would call a hell of a month. For the 12 months in the fiscal year, we had income of $817,000, which was $7,700 short of budget, but $29,300 more than last year. And our operating expenses were just under $35,000 less than budget for the 12-month period, giving us net operating income for the year of $55,000, which was almost $42,000 more than budget, which projected income of about $13,000 for the year. And our net cash flow for the year was $58,600 compared with a budget projection of about $2,900. And at the end of June, which was the end of the fiscal year, we had a cash balance of almost $79,000. And that was after repayment of the city of the $30,000 we had borrowed under our line of credit. So it's hard to imagine a better month than the one we had in June. And that put us into a position of an excellent year-to-date numbers as well for the 12-month period.
Is this a record year for Country Hill?
Back a long time.
I say that again?
It would go back a long time.
Yeah.
It's not a record, it's close to it.
David?
Yes.
David, this is Chris. If I believe I'm correct that our cash position is $59,000 better than it was last year at the end of June.
Sounds right to me.
I think that's right.
So just a question, Mr. Battis. So the 2,900 is what you were projecting at the end of the year, and we've got 58,000 at the end of the year, at the end of June. So we're up about $55,000.
Yes, sir. That's right.
Okay. So just make sure I was reading it right. That's great. That's great news.
Well, I don't guess anybody can disagree with the numbers. Sounds mighty good to me.
How is the month of July being so far, David?
Well, I'll let Brad chime
Yeah,
in and talk about that.
you hang on, Trammell. That's my deal.
Oh,
Mr. Pettis? Mr. Pettis, did I hear you say that those numbers were after we've already paid back the city?
That's right. We
Well,
have.
we've already paid off the,
30,000.
that's great.
That's fantastic. Which will obviously lead into the next thoughts. I'm sure at some point will be for the open discussion at the end when the carts update will come, or at what point of this meeting will that
Yes.
be discussed?
I can do that. I can either do it now or later, whatever you'd like
Probably
to do.
best to do it at the end under other business.
Makes sense.
Okay, are there any questions about the financials?
Just a kind of quick question. When we voted earlier, was that on the call to order, or was that on the approval of the minutes?
Approval of minutes.
Okay.
Well, I know we approved the minutes. Did we approve the call to order?
You don't have
Mr.
to.
Gilly?
you don't have to.
vote on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we had two votes so far: approval minutes and approval.
Elected
Chris.
chairman, yeah.
Right.
Dave, this is Eddie. I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Have the new rates the rate increase, have they gone into effect?
Yes.
And how much of the good balance sheet is a result of the increase in fees, either Brad or David?
That's a pretty good question. I don't know how you would quantify that.
Go into effect till July 1, right?
Yeah, it started July 1, so that's not in Mr. Bettis's reports, I wouldn't think, is those were in June, correct?
Right, but there's no way to tell what's different or how much that is affected. We've been starting it since July 1st, but we've also had far more rounds than we've ever had. So,
Right.
Brad, on your sales report, our rounds are 83% of budget, but our green fees are 88% of budget. And I suspect that difference between those two numbers reflects, mostly those higher rates.
that's right. That's part of it. The other part is one of the two events that we've had. It got rung up. Some of those events, the way our computer is, it's hard to put a cart fee in there, so they get rung up. That the one gets rung up on if it's a tax exempt, like a school deal, it gets rung up under all greens fees.
Okay.
It's just kind of a glitch, but the majority of it would be from the $2 increase, both on the the seniors during the week, and then the biggest one are on the weekends. The $2 for seniors and $2 for regulars. I mean, and we've had zero. We've really had zero pushback, especially on the weekends. I mean, they've just the $45 hasn't. Nobody's blinked an eye.
Well, when the demand is so high right now, we lucked out timing on our increase.
Correct.
Demand is high, so nobody's complaining. That's good. Any other questions? Okay, Brad, who's next here? Operations. Operations.
All right. As Chris kind of alluded to, we're about 65% of the month, and we've got 83% of the rounds. We're up in every single category. Merchandise has been good this month. Now that we can have, seems like people are buying far more than where they used to look. So that's good. Food and beverage has been good as well. So we're at 92% of the dollars for 65% of the month. So, we're up almost 30% so far. So again, you don't see any yellow marks. So that means we've had zero rain, which is good. But the afternoons have started slowing down a little bit more from the heat, but not like usual. So, all in all, we're pretty close to those budgeted numbers. So I expect us to have another record tight month, similar to last month, which would be awesome.
Good deal. How are your merchandise holding up?
It's good. It's good. I was able to have a little a ping demo day, and it was an incredible good day. We sold about 4 sets of irons and several drivers and stuff, so that was good. And then a couple of my other sources that do events at other places have bought some stuff from me, so that's helped as well.
And Brad, you're showing at this point 109% of budget for merchandise.
Yeah, I'm already over that, and this time 2-3 months ago we were doing this budget. We were worried, of even getting to that number, but it's been good. It's been real good. So knock on wood.
Brad, I guess my question was, how's your inventory holding up? So you're in good shape there too.
I'm in pretty good shape. This is the time of year where I try to start getting lower on the clubs, especially woods and stuff like that, to take up a lot of money, and putters, and then get stocked back up on gloves and balls, stuff that sells, every day a lot. So we're in good shape there. The inventory is probably lower than it's ever been in July, but I've still got plenty of stuff for everybody, and making arrangements to get a little more in there without going over budget. So Yeah, it's been good. It's been real good. I anticipate hopefully the next couple of months being the same way.
Me too. Any questions for Brad? No questions. Well, I guess we need to move on to land maintenance.
Generally, to report on maintenance, we spent about 800 man hours on the golf course in the month of June. That averages about 4 people. And obviously with that few people, all that time basically is on the general mowing and general task as it relates to the golf course. A little bit of tag along as it relates to both the income and the expenses. Brad kind of related to that, you know, in his previous comments. When we were sitting here in June, in March and April, thinking about COVID and problems and issues, I never dreamed we'd have such a jovial report today. And so we set ourselves up from a standpoint of both folks and income and expenses and numbers of bodies to kind of reflect a doomsday type scenario. But very fortunately, income has been much better than expected with, you know, less activity and less options for outdoor activities. And I think the golf course and the cash flow in the city has kind of all benefited from that through the process. So all that being said, I don't think today's the day to kind of start spending all this money all at one time. But I think it is the day to kind of start thinking about options and alternatives and what may lie ahead from us. But I think we need to take care of our people. There's some equipment issues that we need to take care of. You know, there's a couple of trees that are down that we need to take care of, and some things like that will help us move forward and then move in a process that we've always kind of taken as it relates to utilizing the income to improve and help the golf course through that process and continue to allow it to have additional income and move forward that way. As Brad mentioned the heat just a minute ago, I think that'll have not only an impact on the afternoon play, but on the greens as well as we move forward. We're okay right now. But we'll move forward and hopefully kind of withstand the next month or so and then kind of regenerate ourselves through the fall. But that's where we are as it stands for the golf maintenance report. When you guys want, I'll kind of reference carts as well.
Say that again, that last part.
If you want me to, if you don't have any questions related to that, or I'll be happy to answer any questions relating to that first and then move into carts in the form of other business. If that.
Very good. Any questions?
Lynn, I
Yes.
do have one question. This is Chris.
Yes.
You know, we've raised our green fees, of course. We haven't been able to give our players the new carts as we anticipated, and I know we're going to get into that.
Yes.
But I just wonder if there's a small thing or two out there that we could do on the golf course that would, you know, show our players that, you know, we're trying to make some small improvements at the same time we raise the fees. I played Friday morning and, you know, we were over on number 5 on the tee box that we agreed to resod back in the spring to try to give the other one that's on the right in the shade a rest. And that was nice to see. I guess one thing that I wonder if we could do that everybody encounters and deals with at plays, is there a possibility of doing a cold patch on that asphalt on the path that leads up to number 15 green turnaround?
Yes, right. Where the moisture comes across right there at the foot of the hill.
Right. And that's the worst, you know, eaten out portion of cart path I think we probably got on the golf course.
Actually, I think he's talking about up toward the turnaround closer.
Up closer to the top of the hill.
Yeah. As you're going up the hill beside the green before you get to the turnaround where we got so many wallowed out places on that path.
We can fool
Everybody
with
has
that.
to bounce.
Yeah, I think we can look at that as an alternative. There's also kind of a spot on number 4 that nobody drives on that part of the cart path because everybody goes straight down the fairway.
They like it. They like that muddy one.
Yeah, at that point. So there's a couple of spots like that, Mr. Maynard, and there's also some things that we can try to get and move forward with. We're going to try to probably find another body to help us through that process. And we've actually been short one person in the form of a mechanic for the last 2 months as it relates to that. And hopefully he'll be getting back with us soon, and we'll be able to have a little bit more time to address some of those issues, as well as kind of carry, some attention to detail issues around, bunkers, like the sod for number 10. I've kind of been waiting on resodding number 10 bunker, and it's almost kind of filled in its weeds at this point, but we keep them mowed, and that's okay. So there's a lot of things like that we need to take care of from a cosmetic standpoint and a standpoint. But yes, we can look at a lot of those different things and try to figure out what to do to help improve that.
None of them in and of themselves are really big items, but they're noticeable, and everybody encounters them every round.
Sure, I agree.
Lynn, I believe if you'll just call Trace, he'll probably help you with the coal patch.
That was in the back of my mind.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer there.
Yeah, because
with the cart path.
Yeah, because going to get 50-pound bags is not very efficient.
Any other maintenance questions? If not, well, I guess we could move on to the carts.
Andy, you can go, or I can go. I mean, I had a brief discussion with Andy and Mr. Manning with finance last week as it relates to the golf carts. My understanding is there's a meeting on July 28th. Is that correct, guys?
There is a finance committee meeting on July 28th. Kind of may let Lamar speak to this too a little bit. He and I and Alderman Robertson and Alderman Hayes are going to try to get together this week and see if there's a chance we could come up with an ordinance to try to do the golf carts outside of any borrowing issue.
That's different than what I'm aware of.
That's correct.
Okay, y'all carry on.
But well, I mean, we're trying the best we can,
I love it. I love it.
Best we can. I think it's becoming a safety issue as much as it is anything at this point.
Yes, I agree.
I had somebody that plays there Saturday night. I had somebody that plays there a lot come up to me while I was eating dinner and ask me what I was going to do about the golf carts. And I've never met this person in my life, so I don't know how they knew who I was unless somebody told them.
You're a celebrity.
Well, I don't know about that.
It's your hats. It's got to be the hats.
Oh, that stories don't go out to eat on Friday night.
Hey, Andy, you want me to go into the conversation we had today with Robert?
That'd be fine.
Okay, yeah, and just to give you guys a heads up, we're looking at doing a bond or a capital outlay note for a lot of projects. One of the issues we have with the golf carts, and this will be mainly to Alderman Hayes and Alderman Robertson, is that if we go more than 7 years, the golf carts don't fit into that mode for a bond or long-term capital outlay note, because their lifespan is not more than 7 or 8 years, as we know, because we're on 7 years now. With that being said, Robert wants to borrow more money for the fire hall, for a fire truck, the inline hockey rinks, turf fields, et cetera, et cetera. We want to borrow a little bit more money and then extend that out to about 12 years for the note, capital outlay note. But if we go to 12 years, we won't be able to put the golf carts in. It's like putting police cars in there. They only have an 8 to 10 year lifespan, and so you're not going to put police cars. So the golf carts kind of on the tipping board here. Robert and Andy and I talked today. We're thinking about going back to the alderman and SM to do an appropriation for the 175 or whatever it happens to be out of the budget, so that we can move forward with that, because the capital outlay note, A, is going to take a couple months longer, and B, probably not going to work with the golf carts in there. So that's kind of where we are right now. Lynn Ray, that doesn't prevent you from going ahead and bidding the carts now. If we go to the finance committee on the 28th, it'll go to the alderman for the first reading on August 11th, and then it'll go for the second meeting in August. So at that point, we could move forward with hopefully by Labor Day, plus or minus, we would have an answer of what we can do. If you already had the bid done and companies on track to order them from, then we'd be a little bit ahead of the game. So
At the end of the day, so basically the timeline, just so I understand correctly, would be there's a couple meetings in the month of August before we would have 100% approval.
right, you have to get this. It's approval of the money. It's an ordinance and it's 2 readings. It's got to go to a committee first. Needs to go to the finance committee, and they meet on the 28th.
Because there's about a 6-week lead time on the, in other words, from the day we would say you are approved or you're the low bidder, et cetera, and here's a PO or here's a guarantee or whatever. So at that point,
I'd like to ask the alderman to put it on the agenda on the 28th, but I think that's going to cause a stink because they go through the committee system and.
No, that's not. I agree. I'm just trying to make sure we're on the right, and I don't bid too early and get everybody kind of fired up about nothing.
Yeah, as long as even if you go out to bid next week and they gave you a 60-day window, I think you'd be fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank y'all very much.
Yeah.
That's great because that would allow us to show, as Chris said just a minute ago, a little bit of positive stuff, and that between tires and we've delayed some. I think Brad, we got 3 or 4 down when I asked John yesterday.
Yeah, that's right. About 3 or 4 down. Only one I'm really bad, the carburetor, but the other ones but we got several tires that are getting.
Tires and brakes and stuff. It's just like Andy referenced early in the conversation.
I would tell you to be cautiously optimistic because this is not something that's going to pass easy. This is something that's going to require homework being done by anybody that's the sponsor of it. It's going to require homework being done by me and Mr. Lamar and probably by the golf management group and probably by the golf commissioners who you all are mayoral appointments, but you all also live in a ward. And that would be the time when you contact your 2 ward members and let them know what's going on and the mayor, because there's 13 votes and it takes 7 of them. And you got to remember, employees didn't get a pay raise or a merit, or a lot of things got cut out of the budget. And there's going to be some aldermen that say, why are we doing golf carts when we couldn't hire a police officer or a fireman or something else or a parks maintenance worker? And you're talking about $176,000, which we all know is needed greatly. It's a great need, but it's a climate right now where nobody's going to want to step out there because all of the haters on the Facebook are going to attack them for spending money on something like this. I'll just go ahead and prepare you for it.
How important is the repayment of that, Andy?
Pretty important. That'll be a good bargaining point.
Yeah, it's real important. I don't think necessarily that everybody always on the board. I think the 2 aldermen we have on here understand that this will be paid for in 5 years by the city's own money, basically.
Right.
And we all understand that, but that's not an easy sell to some of those that sit up there. Now, I'm probably going to be quiet now before I say something I shouldn't.
And let me say that the management group's repayment history, I mean, you've built up a lot of goodwill and support that you can pay it back. And I have no doubt with Alderman Hayes, with his popularity, that we'll get this approved.
No pressure.
That's nice.
Well, and the golf course has improved greatly year over year. We've taken advantage, of course, of probably the COVID conditions, but we borrowed less than half the money we did before. The repayment's been there as it was before. Our position is much better, and frankly, our players, I think, to some extent, have supported the rate increase on the expectation that there are carts coming, and I think they support it through paying higher fees. There's just a lot of positive things to build on in that.
Yep.
I agree.
Well, can I make a comment?
Go ahead, Jonathan.
All of you guys, y'all know more about golf, and your little pinky, you've got more golf experience than I do. It's not that I'm a golfer that I'm such a supporter of this Parks facility, this wonderful golf course. It's because it's right in the middle of Ward 5. It's an awesome shining star. I'm so excited about June's income. But I just think it's an incredible city asset, and I want to support it. I also want to support all of you. I appreciate so much our management group, what you all have done, and continue to keep the carts up, from taping the seats to whatever it takes. And I know you're working hard to keep the greens in good condition. So I will promise you that I will do everything I can to support it and to get others to support it. And I know I can count on Andy, Director Gilly, to help me, because he is very astute at this political business on the Alderman board. So just know that I appreciate so much all of you. Parks Department, you're amazing. So thank you, guys.
Hey guys, I two statements. First, Andy, if you wouldn't mind expanding a little bit, being the newbie here, if you could expand on what type of research or preparedness that you mentioned for my position, and then secondly, as we steer towards this, the aesthetics of cracked seats are no longer our issue. What we have is a public safety issue if we've got brakes and tires on a municipal property. So I think more detail on that and playing up that piece is probably makes this whole discussion much more important. So Andy, if you have any input on what you think I could do in my position, my ears are wide open.
Sure. When I say do your homework, what that means to me is I would count on you to call personally your two aldermen and the mayor that put you on the board, and say I would really appreciate your support of this ordinance that we're bringing forward from the Golf Commission to get this done, and here's why we need to have it. You know, that's all I mean by that.
Perfect. I kind of assumed that, but I wanted to make sure that, again, as the new guy in the block, I wasn't missing a detail. That was,
and then that goes hand in hand with what you're just talking about. It would be helpful, probably Brad and Lynn, if you all sent us detailed information on how much you've had to spend on repair, how many parts that are currently down, how many brake issues have we had, how many people have come into the pro shop and told you they had to bail out of a cart on number 7 because the brakes went out, which I know happens.
Yeah, it's usually not the brakes. It's usually most of it's from the bald tires. And when that thing gets wet, it's bad enough on good tires.
Right. So 7 and 15, you got people bailing out.
Yes, absolutely.
They'll come into the pro shop and they got a cut on their elbow. I mean,
hey, every time it rains, I have to take 2 guys that are doing something else and send them up there just to make sure everybody goes as slow as they can so that doesn't happen.
All that information would be helpful to the commission when they talk to the people that are going to vote on this. I mean, that's
we can make that happen.
And having such
I give Alderman Robertson a ton of credit because he stepped out there during the budget and tried to put it back in there.
Yeah, I heard that. Appreciate that.
And all this discussion that I'm telling you is going to happened that during that time. So it's not going to be easy. I saw somebody on one of Daryl's Facebook pages this week suggest that we sell the golf course. You got to be. I'm telling you, you got to be really careful about who you support and where you're getting your support from, and who's on your side when it comes to this stuff. And
Director Gilly,
it never hurts to ask people for their vote, because if they tell you to their face they're going to support you and vote for something and then they don't do it, that's a bad problem.
Mm-hmm.
Alderman Robertson just mentioned earlier, the golf course is doing great in terms of paying back its debts. That to me is a big pro and a plus when we go to argue for the golf carts. Isn't that correct? Has the the golf course always paid back its debts to the city?
Every time, especially
every time.
This is the normal process for golf carts. I mean, this is what we do.
I think there was one year that we missed it for $50,000 and we had to make it up the next year. You're right, you're right, David.
Yes, sir.
Well, I like knowing even that. I appreciate you saying that. I'll work it. I promise you that. And we do need to reach out to Daryl, though. I'll just say Daryl is not necessarily pro golf course.
It wasn't Daryl that said that. It was somebody else.
On his page. I understand.
Yeah. Daryl didn't say anything about it at all. Daryl will probably understand that we need new golf carts. And
Oh, I think he would. I think what it comes down to is just he just wants it to be as self-sufficient as possible, especially in these tough times.
sure.
You know, we all know we pushed this replacement probably 2 years or something past what would be a normal replacement of golf carts. We just pushed this string as far as it can go.
I agree.
So Andy, the date in August that this comes before BOMA, do we need somebody from the management group at that meeting? To be
I think we probably need them at the finance committee meeting and the BOMA meeting.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah, I agree.
And probably the newly elected chairman of the commission.
Congratulations.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Chris, there's a reason I nominated you.
In self-defense?
Something like that. Well, Gene has already turned it down as far as longevity. He turned it down the last time, and I guess I come in there next on longevity, but you're it.
Short straw.
And I know you'll do an outstanding job.
I appreciate the confidence.
Okay, have we discussed the golf carts enough? Okay, do we have any other business? Brad, Lynn, David?
Chris has a question.
I've got something before Chris says. Today is Chris's birthday. So Chris, happy birthday.
All right.
Well, we gave him a great present, didn't we?
Yeah. Surprise, surprise. It just got one shot. It just got one shot easier to shoot my age.
Yes. The other thing, Mr. Chairman, I would like to suggest, and Dave may better than some, is there any way that we could express our appreciation to Mike? I don't know how many years Mike served on the commission, but what's the typical way that we honor someone as they're leaving the commission and thanking them for their service to the city, Dave?
At least with a certificate. I mean, and we could do something else. A lot of times, you know, we do something for him, but I think we need to do that. Mike's been on there, was on for a while, then he rolled off, then he rolled back on, I think, but he's been on there for several years.
Yes.
I'd like to get him when we meet in public at a BOMA meeting would be good. I mean, who knows when that's going to be, but
yeah.
Well, he's in Florida now, right? Has he already moved?
I don't know that.
I don't think he's moved yet. I think he's moving next month.
Where's he going to, Brad?
He's going to Florida. It's well, he's got a lot of family down there. And I think
Around St. Augustine somewhere.
yeah, it's between St. Augustine and
we can do something on the 28th if that's concern, or we can do it the first meeting in August. Just thought it would be better in person, but we can definitely do a BOMA.
like in the form of a resolution or something like that.
Yeah, you just do a certificate of recognition.
Yeah, certificate of recognition. Recognize him in front of the board. We can probably do that on the 28th, Andy. That way we catch him before he moves for sure.
Dave, Dave, if you and Andy could work on that and just let me know, I'll help you in any way that I can.
Okay, great. I'll make a note right here. Oh, hold on. Steve Brown's knocking on my door. I'll be right back. That's not good.
Okay. Eddie, you said you had something you want to bring up? Go ahead.
I just did the Mike Skinner and Chris's birthday. So I'm done. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
What
Anybody?
I want, this is Chris, what I was gonna ask, Eddie, you and Jonathan work with the mayor to get Mike's replacement on the commission?
Yes.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Off commission meeting, come on in.
Well, yeah, it's a mayoral appointment, and
yes.
I know that Brad sent a suggestion, but I don't know if the mayor has already decided on someone else. But I did talk to him and say that I had a suggestion. So we're still working on that. I don't know if a decision's been made. You, Andy?
Yeah, he has.
He has.
The mayor's already pulled the plug. What's the guy's name?
Rob Plinger.
Yeah, okay.
All right. I didn't. Andy told me, but I didn't have it in that.
Hey, Jim, which ward are you from? Aren't you in Ward 5?
No, I'm in 4.
Okay, all right. Well, welcome aboard and thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm about a city block away from you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, Dave, are you saying that the nominee that Alderman Roberson had mentioned has been pulled? He's not going to get it?
The mayor's already recommended somebody else, and
Somebody else. Okay.
it's his nomination. I mean, it's his to name. He doesn't have to go for the board for approval.
Okay.
Well, the mayor makes the appointment, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Well, I know in my case, I believe it was Steve Brown that asked the mayor at the time. So I assumed that the alderman can nominate somebody, right?
Well, you can, yeah.
The alderman can do that, right?
Right.
Sure. But he's already got somebody in mind, I guess, Colonel.
Oh, is that right? Okay. Well, he's the man. He makes the appointment. So that's the way it goes.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any more discussion? Any more new business? I guess we've covered all of the old business.
Yeah, just to be aware that with the governor's orders, next month's meeting will probably still be by Zoom in August.
Okay.
Say that again, Keith.
The August meeting with the governor's orders will probably still be through Zoom, and I'll send a Zoom meeting invite out, later in August.
Very well. And when is that meeting?
That would be August the 17th.
Okie doke. All right. Okay. Any other business? Any other discussion? Any questions? Thank Johnny and Eddie for attending our meeting and your support. I'm gonna give a call to my alderman myself, and I hope everybody else will also.
You need to wait until we send out word that the ordinance has been prepared and is for sure on the agenda. Otherwise, some of them won't have a clue what you're talking about. So we'll let everybody know when it's a go.
Yeah, we're going to take the finance committee on the 28th, so they won't really know until the 28th what's cooking.
Can you send out an email with that information, Andy?
Yes, sir, for sure.
Yeah, if you would, so I understand what you're talking about.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are there any other questions or statements? If not, I will ask for a motion.
I make the motion to adjourn the meeting.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
We had to call the roll.
All opposed? All right, that's it. Thank you very much.
Mr. Burnham, Andy's got to do a roll call.
Got to call the roll.
Go ahead, Andy.
Oh, you want a roll call?
I don't want one, but we have to.
Oh, you have to.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Mr. Burnham?
Yes. Yay.
Maynard?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Trammell?
Yes.
Thank you all very much, Mr. Trammell.
You
Good to
guys.
have you here in the office with us.
Yeah.
See you, Jenny.
Thanks,
Hey, guys,
everybody.
y'all take care.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. We'll be in touch.
All right.
Thank you, Lynn.
All right, Mr. Trammell,
What?
you get here. Let me do this.
I was just gonna bring this.
You put it right there.